Hola, amigas. So I've sucked at posting my podcast episodes consistently, and let me tell you why before I introduce this wonderful guest today. The reason is because I am on the hunt for a new creative operations assistant. I cannot keep up with posting my podcast every week if I don't have the help. I have a preference to work with a student in Arizona, and it's about 10 hours a week. So if you're interested, please DM me on Instagram or email me at hello@soygina.com so we can get those episodes out and about again. And that's why I've been gone and I'm all over the place. I'm supposed to post podcasts every Tuesday, but that's become incredibly difficult. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for having the patience. And there's more content to you coming. Don't you worry. I'm going to figure it out. But in the meantime, here's today's episode. And let me know what you think. Please comment and subscribe to support the podcast. Hola mis amores, welcome to Empowermente. Today I have an episode with an amazing person that I met sporadically when I went on my trip to Miami earlier this year. So I went on a trip because I wanted to go to a TikTok creator event that I was invited to. It was to celebrate Latina creators, and so I posted that I was gonna go to Miami, and I ended up meeting this amazing soul. Her name is Estrella Quiroz. Y'all, when I met her, it just felt so amazing that I attracted her with my content because she was just like such a magnetic person. Just the way that she embodies herself and lives life is so trusting, so flowy, and so deeply loving. And I knew that I wanted to stay connected to her, so I'm so excited that we collaborated in this way. During the Miami trip, we ended up going to a really cool event called Miami Coffee and Chill, where I did my very first cold plunge. And so it was definitely very, very memorable. And we ended up just doing a few things together. So she definitely left a lasting impression on me. So I can't wait for you to learn about her and all that she's about. And I'm sure you're going to absolutely love her. So I can't wait for you to listen to this episode. So now for our guest. My guest is Estrella Quiroz. She's a life enthusiast, creator, and first-generation Nicaraguan American. She's also the founder of the death tech platform Last Farewells. So her journey began with a loss she never saw coming. 3 days after her 18th birthday, her father passed away. Deported a year earlier, she never got the chance to say goodbye, but he left her a voicemail saying, "I hope a million angels look after you." That message became her lifeline. Since then, Estrella has traveled to over 50 countries, 40 of them solo, and worked alongside serial entrepreneur Troy Payton, and now co-founds Last Farewells, helping people record final messages and create memorial pages for their loved ones. Pre-launch, her Last Message series reached over 24 million people, sharing powerful goodbyes from terminal cancer patients, grandparents, and everyday people whose words have moved millions. Her own heart-led videos have reached over 3 million views, including one that has raised over $21,000 for an elderly woman at a bus stop, later featured at the Today Show and People magazine. Estrella is building a platform that will one day support messages in over 100 languages, so no words are left unspoken anywhere. Such a powerful mission. I'm so excited for this episode. Let us know what you think in the comments. Muchos saludos. Hope you enjoy. Welcome to Empowermente, the headquarters of personal empowerment. Estrella, we're so happy to have you here. Welcome to Empowermente. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to record this podcast episode with you and have a conversation with you because it's been a while since we've chatted. So, welcome. I hope that you are good. So, welcome. So we have been connected on social media for some time now. I don't remember how we came across each other, pero I met you in person in Miami. And you left a lasting impression on me. I don't know if I think I have told you, but your energy is so genuine, contagious, so positive, and it reminds me of Yes Theory. I mean, you are the essence of Hope Core. So I'm just genuinely so excited to talk to you.
Wait, that's so funny. Oh, you're a fan of Yes Theory? Did we talk about this?
No, we didn't.
Okay, that's so funny. No, I'm a huge fan of Yes Theory, and I know the guys now, and I've been in a couple videos, and
See?
that's how I met my last boyfriend. That's how we met because of Yes Theory. So,
No way. Yeah. No, I actually have a shirt that says yes because I bought some merch. So my
oh my
fiance introduced me to Yes Theory. Yo nunca había escuchado de ellos. But I think Yes Theory, going on a side tangent right away,
gosh.
like it blew my mind how positive they are. And I feel I was surprised to see a group of men be so positive and be about travel and be about connection and love and saying yes and to seek discomfort, right? And it was just like such a transitional time in my life where like it opened me up to like, hey, this is a whole new reality of men. They exist, right? So that I mean, I love it.
Wow. No, this is amazing. Actually, wow, I can't believe we never spoke about this. No, Yes Theory was a core part of my life for, I would say, 2020 to 2024 for sure. I mean, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. I've met people from the Yes community. Okay, well, for background on anybody who doesn't know what Yes Theory is,
Yeah,
it's a
I was gonna say that. I was like, wait.
it's a YouTube channel, and the concept is, a stranger is just a friend you haven't met yet. So part of their videos used to be like, okay, well, let's go out and meet strangers. Let's get out of our comfort zone. And then they started transitioning more to storytelling, and there's just such a beautiful art of like going up and just getting out of your own personal fear and out of your comfort zone. So I've always thought about anything about getting out of my comfort zone really was inspired by them. So they played a huge role in
Mm.
my life, and not just through videos. Literally, their whole video. It's crazy because they started a YouTube channel, which directly I was in a relationship for almost 4 years because of them, because I met someone through their community. And though it didn't, end up working out, it's still like it was one of the best relationships ever. And the a core part of why that was so important is because we came in both loving Yes Theory. So immediately we knew we had some core values of one, you're gonna try to be the best person you can or get out of your comfort zone, live your dreams, and also like help a stranger out. So the stranger part has definitely, I still do it. I love strangers.
Oh my gosh, me encanta. Yes. And for whoever's listening, yes Theory is a community, a channel. It's a way of being. Just kidding. But it's a really really cool just group of content creators that do amazing things. So check them out. Shout out to Yes Theory. So we met in Miami. Back to the concept of the podcast. We met in Miami, and you were so amazing and me llamó tanto la atención. I thought it was so interesting that you were also on your entrepreneurship journey, very different from mine, right? You're focusing on building an app, right, in tech, and it's so mission and purpose driven. And I feel like that's how you and me find so much synergy. I want to know, and for especially those of you that don't know you, I am going to read your bio, but we're curious to know how you jumped into entrepreneurship. Like I know you're very mission driven, so we want to hear like what pulled you to take the leap, because even if you were mission driven, like it's hard to leave a full-time job and do it full time and just take a bet on yourself. So tell us more about it.
Yeah, it was okay. I was never in my right mind. I never thought I'd be an entrepreneur. But there was letters that I wrote to myself when I was 8 or 11 years old. I had this concept. It was like, I'm gonna build Candy World, and there's gonna be a place you enter, and there's gonna be candy from all over the world, and you just buy it there. Like, and I had that when I was 8. So there was always some sort of entrepreneurial spirit in there, but it went away for many, many years. And so now, I'm the co-founder of Last Farewells, and the reason I am is really, I don't want to say luck. I know it really was a calling. So my dad, he got deported when I was 17, and when I was 18, he unexpectedly passed away. And a few days before he passed away, he left me a beautiful voicemail message, and it's something that just stuck with me so much. Like it changed my life really, because though he unexpectedly died, I always had this piece of him telling me these beautiful words that he loved me, and so I knew he loved me until the end. And that's really kind of what spurred my mindset of like, I'm gonna go live life. I'm gonna go find a way to travel the world. I'm gonna go try to do good in the world. And because of that, I came across a man named Troy, and Troy was my CEO at a travel company where I was an intern. And he had this idea for last farewells, which is where a platform where you can create last messages that are delivered after you pass away. So he heard the story about my dad's last voicemail message. Obviously, it was immediate synergy. Like, I had a voicemail message, which was the concept he was trying to prove. So he invited me to be his co-founder. And to me, it was super shocking because so many things had to happen for me to be an entrepreneur. And it didn't all happen right away. My dad died when I was 18. I went on this travel journey the next 3 years through university. I saw over 50 countries. I got an internship. Then I went into like an adult. I got real jobs. I was at a really like nice salary jobs with great benefits. And then I reconnected with my CEO 5 years later. So it was literally a whole 8, 9 year journey. And 5 minutes into us reconnecting, I'm telling him, hey, I'm thinking of starting a very small business for my family. I just want them to make some income in Nicaragua. And he's like, hey, why don't you come on board as a co-founder of Last Farewells? Like 5 minutes in, he's offering me his startup. And I'm like, and it was that moment that I just, everything, I was like, I felt like I knew what my purpose was in this moment. So it's definitely not a linear, it's not a traditional journey at all. It's not like I had a dream of being a tech startup founder or being in this world, but it's definitely something that I'm super passionate about because I know how impactful the work that we do is going to be in the lives of many.
And I love just the serendipity of everything, of meeting
Yeah.
somebody with that experience and they're like, come over. And, that's what I talk about with the ladies in my group for coaching is like when you open yourself to the possibility of things happening and you believe that you're meant to do it and you have everything that you need to do it, things come to you with
Oh,
where
absolutely. Wait, I need to backtrack even a bit more. So the only reason I got this internship where my co-founder, my CEO, the one he owned, the only reason I got the internship was because I had to find a full-time internship to graduate college. And so I was looking online, I was looking for internships, and I came across his website. He had a company called goabroad.com and it was showing internships abroad. But then I thought to myself, oh, I wonder if this company is hiring. And I saw that they had maybe some 10-hour a week internships that really like you could do remotely, but I needed something full time. And so I shot my shot. I created this whole email pitch. I made this whole travel website portfolio with like my travel experience, with who I was. And I got an interview and they literally made that internship for me. That internship did not exist until they met me. And because of that, I moved to Colorado. I was working at their company full time my last semester of university, and that's literally how it all happened. And so that's what happened. Like obviously, like I could have just waited around, found an internship that was open, but I took a risk. Yeah, you gotta shoot your shot a lot of the times, and that's how genuinely like that's how I met him because I took that risk of like asking someone for something that didn't even exist.
Yes, we love pitching audacious queen because that'll get you really far. Just having the courage to do the thing that you want. So I absolutely love that. When you talk about last farewells and your whole journey to get here, I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I would get emotional just thinking about like just from the beginning what it took for you to be here now, and your mission is so strong. What have you learned from your own experience of preserving somebody that you loved so much, their last words to you? Like how does that fuel you and your mission, and what have you seen from helping others do the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So just to slow it down a bit of Last Farewell. So it's an end of life planning platform, and on there you can create your last letters, your last videos, your last audio messages, and then schedule it in the future for birthdays, milestones, or upon death. And so this is the concept of a last message to me is super impactful because I have write a last message for my own dad, but I also wish I had more. I wish he could give me advice for my wedding day. I wish he could leave something for my kids. Like, but I only have that bit size piece for it. And so now I am really passionate about it because grief sucks. It's not something that's talked about. My approach with grief was something that it made me like, it woke me up and like, how am I going to live life? How am I going to have fun? How am I going to make memories? But at the same time, I cherish my loved ones a lot more. Like with my mom and grandma, I recorded their last messages. Like my grandma left me a last message for my future wedding, just in case she's not here because she's 93 and I don't know when I'll get married. So these are moments that like it's like life insurance. You create it just in case. I know it's going to be very impactful because it's almost going to be a miracle when someone, especially if someone passes away unexpectedly, you just your whole world goes black. Like you just don't know what to do. So then for there to be some words of encouragement that say, I'm sorry, I love you, it really can feel like a miracle to some people that they have these lasting words. I mean, they necessarily weren't the last text message that you received. That might just be like something as simple as like, I'm going to the grocery store. Rather, you have something
Wow.
that's like, hey, if you're watching this, I just know I love you. Keep going for your dreams. Keep doing what you need to do, and words of encouragement. So that's really what keeps me going. Is like I know the pain that comes from unexpected deaths, and I know it's going to keep happening. So it's not something we can avoid. People don't expect to die, especially at young ages. My dad was only 50. People die younger in accidents, so it's something that is not planned for enough. And if I can have any help in making somebody's like grieving journey at least 1% better, then I definitely, that's why I'm doing this.
Me encanta, qué bonito. Y I feel culturally it's also a bigger conversation when you talk about, let's talk about death, right? Let's talk
Yeah.
about if there was somebody in our close friends or family that passes away, and it opens up the conversation as to like what are other things that we should be talking about now, and it almost like bonds you and creates a stronger connection with those that you love. So props to you for all the work that you do. I want to talk a little bit about your dad because you mentioned, he was a huge part of why you started all of this. What was his story, and what did life for your parents look like? Because you're also a first generation Latina, so I highly resonate with you on that.
Yeah, so my parents are from Nicaragua, and when my dad was 23, he migrated over to the U.S. But he didn't just like migrate over. He was a coyote, so he was a person who would take a lot of people, and so he probably crossed over 300 people, including all of his side of the family. Then my mom's side of the family stayed in Nicaragua. So my dad was also a very generous person, meaning like I think those people do make a lot of money, but he gave a lot of his money away. So when I was born, we grew up super poor. So it was very low income. And, like I grew up seeing my parents hustle a lot. Like my dad was a self-employed mechanic. He would stand outside of AutoZone, like one of those car shops, and ask for jobs, and that's how he would make clients. And so I always just remember like going to AutoZone with him or going to other clients' houses as a mechanic. And my mom, she was a housekeeper at a hospital. So I always saw like them struggle a lot. And it was always one of those things where it's like paycheck to paycheck. But I also saw like extreme generosity. I saw how kind you can be, and it was just like one of those things that I saw as a kid that I just knew that like, wow, I need to help my parents one day. Like even so vividly that we would run out of gas multiple times on the highway, and it's just something that like I just my rich life. I could have $0 in the bank, but I'm always gonna fill up my tank. That's something that I do now all the time. No, 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 no. Because we used to put $2, 2.50, like scrapping up the scraps, and it was just remember like me being so mortified, like oh my gosh, people are having to help us push the car. So that's like those are parts of my childhood that I just thought like, okay, no, this is never gonna happen again in the future. And so growing up, I was very academically or like focused on like, let me get a job, let me go to university, let me get a job, let me help my parents. And even when I was 11 years old, I still have this letter. It's a letter that says, "Dear Estrella, congratulations on graduation. Remember to give your first paycheck to your parents as soon as you get a job. You remember you can be anything but you want, but be a slacker." So I'm literally my 11-year-old self is telling my 18-year-old self to like give your parents the money. So yeah, I'm very grateful for my parents, and I always think that they did inspire so much in me because even though they didn't have much, they always worked really hard. And even though now we have different problems, like for them, it's paycheck to paycheck. For me, it's still paycheck to paycheck, but like I'm working on a tech startup. I'm choosing this. Like I had a 6-figure job, which is the most I would say like any of my family had ever made, and I chose to leave it to start Last for Rose because it's something I really believe in. So but a lot of it's kind of the same. Like you're trying to be scrappy, like you got to be resourceful as a founder. You got to, like all these things I realize I got as gifts from my parents. And that would have never happened had I had a different story. So I'm super grateful, and like I do a lot to honor my dad especially, but my mom is really the one who's here with me. Like just the other day, she literally came in and organized my entire closet and color coded it. And something I've been meaning to do for months that just got away from me. So when
Wow.
she did it, it was such a small act of kindness that I'm like, wow, mom, you just wait. Let me keep working hard. I'm gonna
Oh,
help you, mom.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was the boost of motivation that you needed.
It
So
was. It was
yeah.
just such a nice, beautiful love language that it just was like, like I don't know, I think our brains are kind of the same, that we're just like looking at this mess and it's kind of like, how am I gonna do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a
Yeah.
metaphor. That's a metaphor of life. I guess you gotta ask sometimes, like you gotta ask for the help and then the help will come, right? So yeah, I'm super grateful for my parents, but it definitely was harder growing up, as many first gens
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. 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 And I feel like we of course carry a lot of their own trauma that they experience from being in their countries, and it's traumatic to go to a new country without anything and trying to build something out of yourself. So obviously we carry a lot of that, but when we are Latinos, we also carry so much of their resilience, right? And so much of those things that allow us to be successful and achievers and do all these things. So it's amazing that you take all the good things and you highlight them and you amplify them in your own work. So it's really amazing to see that. Um, you do a lot, and I feel like a lot of what you do is hard. I mean, entrepreneurship is very hard. Like it is hard, and it's also what I talk about is putting your art out there and then hoping that people like it and hoping people resonate. Except that now it's your lifeline because you depend on it to live, it's your livelihood. So
Yeah.
with all the moving parts of your life, with starting your tech startup and pitching yourself and I mean, I'm sure there's a huge learning curve in learning all of that. Is there certain rituals or things that you do to keep yourself sane, right? Because not only is everything that you're doing difficult, you're also navigating a hard topic, which some people can get triggered and some people will not understand that because it's not necessarily culturally common to talk about it. So I'm wondering if you have anything that helps you stay sane or organize your time, or you're still figuring it out and learning to ask for help like me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's the biggest part, girl. Asking for help. Well, yes, just a financial transparency. I'm not even taking paychecks anymore for last for was until like until we move the needle more. So I think this is definitely one of those defying moments where if I was not passionate about this, it'd be so hard to continue. I just truly believe in it that even in this moment of like in my adult life, I probably have the least amount of I do. I have the least amount of savings I've ever had as an adult because like I said, I had a six-figure job, I had great savings, and then I left that to do this. And so it's definitely that defining moment in this journey with Last Farewell is that I really have to one, be grateful for what I have done and accomplished, and then two, also not be scared. And the reason I haven't been as scared as I think I normally would have been maybe years ago, I recently found God, or he found me. I was never religious in my life. And I just had a person come into my life that just said a prayer over me, and it was really nice. So I decided to go to church. My grandma's also been praying so long for all of us to go to church, like many grandmas.
Yeah.
But I go to church and I was open minded. I've tried a lot of different religions, Jewish, Muslim. Like I learned a lot about different types. But I walked into church one day and the message really hit me. It said, "You don't have to change for God to love you. God's love is going to change you," and that really hit me because we're always trying to be better, especially like as first gen Latinas. We're always trying to do more. How are we going to help our family? How are we going to do this? How are we going to help our business? How do we stay sane? And it just felt like never felt like I was doing enough or felt like I was always failing. And so when I heard that message that I didn't have to do anything, that I just had to accept God's love, I literally started tearing up in that moment, and it completely changed everything. And that moment, that day, it just happened to be Baptism Sunday. And the pastor counted to three, and he was all like, "Stand up on the count of three if you're gonna get baptized." And like, mind you, this is my first time willingly going into a church. Like, I grew up going to Catholic masses, going to even my dad was Mormon at one point, so we would go to Mormon churches. So I grew up seeing it, but never willingly. And so then on the count of three, I did not think I was going to stand up, but I stood up and I left baptized that day. So now it's been about 8 months since my unexpected baptism, and now I've just really been relying on faith and God to pull me through with this. And I think it's definitely been a game changer because I know that miracles can happen any day, and you know that God is a man of miracles for sure. And so I think having that faith, praying, just really being like obedient, and obedient in the sense of like, okay, am I doing things that are moving the company forward, or am I holding myself back? It's so easy to self sabotage. It's so easy to get in your
Yeah.
head. And
Yeah.
sometimes they say like whoever if you don't whoever believes whoever believes in the devil or whatnot, like they say that when you are closer to like doing something for the greater good, or closer to your calling that God has for you, that then the devil attacks like harder because he knows that you're trying to like make changes. And so there's like that, they call that spiritual warfare. So that's definitely something that I've been learning a lot about, and I think that's really been the game changer now. I in this entrepreneurship journey, like I started a year and a half not having a religion or any faith to ground on, and it was all my expectation. Estrella, you got to do better. Estrella, you got to be better. Estrella, you got to exceed. And now it's like, no, like I'm doing this for a reason because it's my calling. And so that's been the biggest thing at all. Like it's not even my own will anymore. Like I'm doing this because God has called me to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like being an instrument to a bigger vision and mission than yourself. And I do think faith, regardless of what that is, if that's universe, God, or in something greater than yourself, it's such a foundation to not only being successful and doing well, but feeling good and feeling connected as you're doing it. So that is really beautiful and a beautiful testament. I've been exploring always my spirituality. I grew up Catholic, but I defaulted to a non-agnostic way of being spiritual. And so then I've practiced that for a few years until recently. Also, one of my friends posted that she was going to church, Catholic church, and I was like, oh, okay. I grew up Catholic. I don't really resonate with that. But then she started talking about how the priest talked about topics that churches usually don't talk about. And the way that I grew up was like, oh, like Catholic Church is a certain way, and that's the way that it's dictated across the board. But apparently, churches have the liberty to adopt what their like leaders think, to a certain extent, right? And so then this priest talks about mental health and about freeing Palestine and about what's happening in the
Wow.
world. And so I was like, what? And so she had posted about it like months ago, like about she really found herself in the church and then that it aligned with her values. And then no sé cómo pasó. I don't know how it happened a few weeks ago. And I I think it was a whole thing that I talked to one of her friends. El caso es de que she me dijo, "Oh, do you want to go tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, like let's go. I feel genuinely open to do it." And it was a wonderful experience. I don't know where it's going to lead me to.
That's amazing.
No sé si
I
voy
mean,
a
you're gonna
regresar
follow
la
your
semana
dream.
que entra, voy a decirte como que, oh, I'm complete Catholic. But it's beautiful to be open to the
Yeah.
possibility of faith, something greater than yourself, and being guided by it. I think it's so important. It's a huge part of where I am today as well. Like just leaving my job and wanting to serve people in different ways.
Wow.
So yeah, I love
That's
that.
amazing. I love that. Yeah, and I grew up experimenting different churches, but then my foundation for the longest was the universe. It was New Age spirituality, so
Uh-huh.
and the law of attraction. I think I really did need that to know that there was there was a way out. And I
Uh-huh.
think that's really
See,
the reason I was able to travel to 50 plus countries with like
wow.
nobody paying for me, like all those things. And I think the foundation of it. So when I became Christian, it actually wasn't too hard to kind of, then I just thought I stopped saying the universe. I just started saying God, the creator of the universe. So it wasn't
See,
that hard. I'm glad I had the foundation with, I would say new age, modern
yeah.
spirituality. It really taught me a lot about myself and inwardly. And then my thing with religion happened overnight. I can't even explain it to you, but I
Sí,
just know
sí,
that it's been
sí.
the best thing ever. That's changed my life. So I'm glad you found
Sí.
a church that is definitely more open minded, and I think that's what I needed too. The church I went to, I always saw Christianity as one way. I'm like, you guys are judgmental. I feel like you guys are judging me. I feel like you're condemning me. But then I went
Sí,
to a church that really was just like, hey, at the end of the day, it's about your relationship with God. That's the most important thing.
sí,
And so it was super
sí,
modern. They broke down the Bible very digestible, and that's the reason I didn't know church could be like that. So I'm
sí.
glad you're experimenting. I think everybody's on their own journey, and we still definitely have to be open minded, for sure, to
See,
everybody's
open
journey.
to the possibilities. Yeah, I feel like that's what causes for us to do anything, right? When you pitched yourself for that internship and then you got it and then you were just open. And I think when you flow, it just makes everything smoother because if we're always resisting, it creates a lot of difficulty in our lives, right? Like if we
Yeah.
choose to accept, it becomes easier. So Yeah, I didn't know we were going to talk about religion, but I guess
I
we
know,
are.
right?
Yeah, and we're almost getting to the end here, but it's been such a wonderful conversation with you. I'm curious about your mindset because it takes a certain mindset to not only just put yourself out there, like career wise, especially for somebody who comes from programming of a collective culture and is trying to thrive in an individualistic culture, which is the US. So you're already kind of navigating two cultures at the same time in your brain. And, you know, a lot of that time it contradicts, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I was raised to be, you know, a little bit more conservative in the way that I am, just more quiet, you know, not to go out there and seek those opportunities. And so now that you're a tech founder, a tech startup founder, what are some mindsets that help you move forward? Like, how do you think about, we talked about mission and vision, but like when things get harder or when you know that you have to ask for something, but you feel like, oh, like that resistance and you take it personal instead of seeing it like you're just like an instrument. What are those mindsets that help you recenter yourself and go through that event like you had recently, or go to Univision, freaking Univision, you got interviewed, congratulations.
Thank you.
Or to pitch yourself for something even bigger.
Oh, the mindset, I would say, well, there's, since we're speaking about religion, there's a verse that I really liked, and it's consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kind. And essentially it's saying find joy in the trials, like find joy in the hard times. And I think a common theme in my life, no matter how hard it's been at certain times, is there are so many ways to find joy. And I think with the startup journey, every day is a new challenge. Like, and right now, you know, we're raising our investment round, so we're still very early stage. Eventually we'll get the investment round, then it's going to be about the customers, then it's going to be about the link. Like, there's always going to be a new level of problems. And I think that's the part where we kind of just like get stuck in this cycle, like, oh, if only this was solved, if only this was solved. And in
Mm.
reality, that's not going to solve anything. It's going to be like, it really is like, okay, how can I make the best of the situation? Because these things are always going to, new problems are always going to rise. And they say
Mm.
more money, more problems, right? So I've been holding a lot that verse into my heart a lot, because I just want to know that each day, like if I literally died tomorrow, then I did what I could. And so there are moments like in this journey where I could get lost 24 hours in building this company, but I also have to remember, well, I have a mother, and this is the youngest she's ever going to be. Am I making time for her? Am I making time for my family? Am I checking in on friends? I think that really has grounded me, and working in the death industry gives you that perspective. Like, many
Mm.
people who work in this industry know how valuable life is. So for us, like by thinking about our own deaths, we tend to live our lives even better because we know what it is like to
Mm.
lose someone. And so we have kind of that knowledge of like, okay, yes, this is, you got to go all in and give it your all, but at the same time, like reality check, like what is also important, like because no day is guaranteed. And so yeah, that's kind of the mindset I've been in, the just thinking how about how short my life can be, and am I doing what I can to help and serve. And exactly what you're saying, like there is a purpose of serving others. I feel like I've lived my more selfish desires when I was in my earlier 20s. Like I wanted to travel, I got to do
Me.
all these things. And now it's like, but there's always an emptiness that comes with it, right? And I think
Mm.
it's always more fulfilling to help the people around us, to give others the experiences. Even like, and so going on Univision and getting interviewed about my startup, it was a full circle moment, because not only did I get to share about something I'm building, but I got to share that experience with my mom. I brought her to the studio, and it was a dream of hers to visit the Univision studios. So I got to make her bucket list dream happen. So in that case, it's while I'm chasing my own dreams, I also have the capability of unlocking these dreams for the people that I love. And I think that's been the coolest part. Also, like building the tech startup, and also now like trying, like exploring, experimenting, being a creator on Instagram, like that can unlock new doors for the people that we love most, or other people that we can help strangers. So I just think it's really exciting to live in this time where there's so many tools for us, even though like we have had some setbacks. You know, it's like for Gen Latinas, like it is a new drawing board of like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing, but you know what, I gotta do it anyways. That's
Sí,
what I said. I think
sí,
I'm doing this right, but you know, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna at least have fun. So you know what,
sí.
I could be crying, but you know what, let me put on some salsa music and let's at least dance for a
Mm.
little bit.
Sí, qué bendición, me encanta. This is why we're here together because I am a strong proponent to enjoy the journey because I experienced the same thing, just like working so hard for a dream job and being in tech and having like the perfect life, but then being like, wait, I'm actually super unfulfilled. You know, like I actually
Yeah, you're
don't
just kind of
like
like waiting, like, is it 5 o'clock already? Like, can I start doing other things? And that's kind of like, like, shoot, that's how you know you're in the wrong. Many people, it's very easy to get complacent. And so no hate to anybody like still on that journey as well. But I think at some point you do realize like it's not even about the money. Money can bring experiences for the people that you love and for you as well. It's a very helpful tool. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, is what we're doing going to serve a greater good for not just ourselves, but for others?
Sí, me encanta. Gracias. Thank you for all of that. Um, I was gonna say before we close, but I want to talk about one thing, okay, and then we can get to the final words here at the podcast. But um, for somebody who would be interested in starting a tech startup, I'm sure you've learned so much, and you don't have to give us a whole playbook, right? But just high level, can you share some of the things that you learned in terms of strategy or in terms of just like business that somebody would could just take away and spark curiosity so that they could research it? Like, I want to start a company that's product based one day, not right now. I'm really focused on my services and just doing that, but I think eventually I would want to do something like that and use my product management background. But
Yeah.
see, whatever you want to share or
Yeah.
comes to mind.
Absolutely. The first thing that came to mind is I'm a big fan of building in public. For me, I
Sí.
feel so limited in capabilities because I'm a tech founder, but I'm non-technical. So it's been a huge
Mm,
learning curve. So I have strong skill sets in certain places, but again, we've never done this. Like, never built a company from scratch. I've never, or like leveled it up or scaled it. So it was definitely a huge learning curve. And I think the biggest thing that you have as a first-time founder going in is that um, you're naive, which is great. I was told that. They're like, wow, you're naive and this is great, but it can only take you so far. And so I
sí,
think there's this sense of a dreamer energy where like a shoot your shot energy at the beginning where anything feels possible, where you're like, I can be this unicorn. And I think you got to run with that while you can, because then
sí,
the real world comes in and then you start realizing like, oh no, like,
the
did I build this wrong?
beginner.
To get more specific on advice, building in public, telling the content creator journey is awesome because you're bringing people along for a ride. You're showing people the highs and lows. You're making people root for you. For me, it works great right now because this concept of last farewells is it's not a new concept. Other companies have tried to do this. Nobody's been able to market it well, and I think it's because of a lack of education. Like, people don't know that this is possible. People don't
Mm,
know what a last message looks like. It's not a common practice, and so for me, it works well because I'm teaching people, but I'm also bringing them along this journey, and I want to show them like this underdog side, like, hey, like, I got so many things stacked against me, but you know what, I can tell a story, and I can tell that story on social media. So for me, I would say, yeah, build in public. I kept last for Wells private maybe for like 6 months working on it, and it felt so terrible. It just felt like I was going around in
mm,
circles on a laptop because I wasn't putting it out there. I have a network, but I didn't use it. So I think
mm,
when you do tell people, like, people are more willing. And now I've gotten people reaching out, like life insurance companies want to distribute last farewells. I've had people reach out for, hey, do
wow.
you want to get interviewed? And that's the beauty of building in public. So that's one. Second, I've been a major perfectionist in our platform. Like, it's still a beta platform. It didn't have to look that pretty for what we built. And so I realize now, like, the money didn't have to go into spending on the technical part. That's why they say, like, be as scrappy as you can. For example, instead of me having, like, while the platform was being built, I didn't necessarily need the platform. I could have gone and onboarded users immediately, like, hey, grandma, make this last message. Hey, grandma, and tested the process. So that's what they say, like, make sure you test the process before necessarily going out and building out the entire
Sí,
platform. And so
iteration.
it's very easy to us to think, like, oh no, but we have to have it super high level. It has to be the best it can be. When in reality, like, it's just about getting data first from those initial users, and already building like the most scrappiest database of people, like, one on one at this point. So
Mhm.
yeah, before you build anything tech, make sure that, like, you're not spending too much money on it, and doing what you can to prove the concept that you're trying to prove without building the actual tech itself. So yeah, those two. But building in public for sure. Like, do it. Why not?
Yeah, yeah,
Other
no,
people, hey, other people can build it by themselves. They can, like, make it all happen. But hey, if you got a story and you're just really passionate, you don't know how to go about it, build with the audience. Let TikTok and Instagram people, like, come in and give you opinions. I wish I had done that earlier. I wish I had people like direct me on the logo or like the name, what are your feedback? Like, I wish I had built that. So if I build the next company, immediately it would be different, and it would be getting the community first to tap into to get feedback from.
Yes, I love that. And those are applicable in any business, right? Like iteration and testing the idea, testing the problem, seeing how big it is, seeing if you're solving the right problem and if you're solving the problem right, right? So there's so many things that can prevent us from losing time and money.
Yeah.
And I mean, regardless, even if you do all those things, you're still gonna come up with challenges. Like things are still gonna come and be challenging. But thank you for that. Building in public is also huge, and building your personal brand alongside that. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a testament of how many opportunities that can bring, and it's so cool. Honestly, it's so cool. The
Yeah, and
people
there's
that
so
you
many
meet.
grants. There's
Yeah.
so many grants for tech founders. Like, that's what they say. You don't necessarily even need investment at the beginning. Like, you can start with so many small business grants. I mean, ChatGPT is a great tool, obviously, to not completely do all your copywriting, but help you understand the mindset of an investor as well. So there's just so many tools. This is the best. I'm really glad I came in at this time. When I did as a tech founder, because I have a lot more resources. But,
Sí.
but what's going to make me stand out, right? What's going to make me stand out is my personal brand. It's my personal story. It's my the way I tell stories, or the way I want to be authentic,
Sí.
or even transparent, or even like it's telling you what I believe in, even like mentioning that, hey, yeah, I am a Christian, and that does drive a big part of what I do now. I just don't want to hide any parts of myself, because I think it's really hard hiding parts of yourself when you're trying to grow something, because you want people to understand where you're coming from. And so, yeah, I
Mm.
think I think definitely your personal story. And even like a lot of people, I've met so many founders that, yes, they have a great product, but and then they have an even more amazing backstory, but they don't tell the backstory because, oh no, that's too personal. Oh no, like, let me not.
Mm.
But I just think it's like I like to invite people in to learn more about me. And even I mentioned, about my dad being a mechanic, or my mom being a housekeeper, or like the struggles of growing up. I just need them to know where I'm operating from, because that's really important for me, that they understand, if they're going to invest in
Mm.
me, that they understand where I'm coming from as a founder.
Qué poderoso. En español siento que vives con tu corazón abierto. You know, I feel like you live with an open heart and you're always going to be protected. It's not about being vulnerable in the negative sense. It's just like being open to the world seeing you for who you are. So I
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely
And back to that public brand building, like, obviously take advice, but at the same time, stand your ground when you know you believe in something. Like,
sí.
right? Like,
Ujú.
many people may not know, like, a last message. Like Airbnb, I'll leave it off with this story, but Airbnb, they have a cool story. Nobody was gonna investing in them, because they were like, why would you pay for to stay in a stranger's home? That doesn't
Sí,
make
sí.
any sense.
Same with
So
Uber, dude. Like,
yeah, so what did they do? They started designing these cereal boxes with like the presidents who were running at the time. I think it was Barack and McCain, or one of those. And they sold these boxes for $40. And then because of that, their investors were like, okay, if you can sell a cereal box for $40, you know what? Let's give it a shot. But like, right, like, so be convicted in your own, like, in your own, like, that's why I'm crazy about this last message. Like, yeah. Oh, and investors like, well, how are you going to make money? And I'm like, let me show you how. But at the same time, let me show you why this is going to change the world, why it's so simple,
sí,
why if it
sí.
scale to 100 plus languages, if with our tourism and international education background, like, why it can happen, and why I can be the person to do it to some, right? So that is like, yes, accept the feedback, but also like stand true on what you know is,
See, and
your
it takes
call.
so much discernment to know that. Like, what should I follow? Should am I right? Like, that's the game. Literally, that's the game. O sea, aprender like when to stop, when to go, what to listen to. I think that's wisdom.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Thank you
Yeah,
for your time. I so appreciate you. I hope that you feel energized to
I
know that
do.
there's people like me and the audience also is so supportive. So where can people connect with you, follow you, and how can we support your mission at Last Farewells?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like sharing all parts of my life on my personal Instagram. So it's Estrella Q95. Please send me a message, because that video that I had that went viral, it's still like, I can't, my notifications keep, that's not, I don't know how celebrities do it, but my notifications keep going up, that now I'm like, I don't know who's following me. But yeah, please send me a message, and that way I can see it. And then our Last Farewells Instagram is at Last Farewells app. Or you can start creating your own last messages at lastfarewells.com. Get your parents on board, get your grandparents on board.
Hmm.
Because, like, I also feel like many first gen Latinas, especially the oldest daughters, or the youngest daughters, one of them is going to be the person to get everybody they love on board, because I feel like, yeah, there's always that one person in the family.
Sí, sí, sí.
And yeah, that's the best way to connect, through Instagram, or through our website. There's a way to email us. But this is amazing. I'm so proud of you, and you know, all the empowerment you give, and the way you impact the lives of so many people, and you do it so colorfully too. So I'm gonna give you your flowers, girl, because you live life. Let me tell you, when I met Gina, I picked her up from her Airbnb, blasted some music. She came out. She said, "Yes, let's dance." Took her to this event called Coffee and Chill, where she literally got in the ice baths, and that was the start of our in-person friendship. But I think, yeah, it's really cool to see you, and even more now that I know that you like yes theory. It's just now this makes a lot more sense now.
Sí, no, me encanta, gracias. Sí, and I hope we can continue to nourish our relationship y keep supporting each other. I so appreciate you. Y muchas gracias. Thank you so much for being part
Absolutely.
of Empowerment Day.
Thank you. I appreciate it.